Hello. Welcome back. This is the third installment in our virtual PLCs, number five. And we're talking about backwards design in the band room. So I am your virtual PLC lead, Dr. Zandra Bell McCroy for 6 through 12 band. And I am super excited about this topic. So let's just keep trucking along, okay? So, step three is planning your work and working your plan. Now, this is where you are the first chunk of the backward design is very cranial, right? It's very much about um, researching and reading and examining and evaluating the things that you need to do for your students, what they need to know, and the things they need to be able to do to perform the music that you have selected. Now, if you find that the list of things that they need to know and the list of things that they need to be able to do is super long, um, maybe you need to pick something different, right? So I've been there. I have thought to myself, oh, this is a really cool piece. I'm going to hand this one out. But then I started looking at it and I started realizing, hmm, they need to know this, and this. And they know two of those. They need to be able to do this, and this. And they know how to do one of those. Let's put that back and we can approach that later in the year or next school year. So it's a really cranial, really individual, really personal, really teachery kind of thing, that you're doing in the first part. This part is where you're planning your work and working your plan. So it's a combination of thinking and doing, and it's a constant um, back and forth. Thinking, then doing, thinking, then doing, thinking, then doing. So you're constantly in a cycle of thinking, doing, evaluating, thinking, doing, evaluating, which is what we do every day, right? Um, what happened today is going to influence the plans that I make for tomorrow. I make these lesson plans for the week and I'm constantly tweaking them because um, what we did today wasn't expected. So now I've got to go tomorrow and make some things happen because I didn't expect that. So this is the meat and potatoes, right? We're planning our work and now we're working our plan. All right. So just so you can see some pictures of um, the planning of the work, right? This is an example of a rehearsal plan that I use for my classes. So at the top, I have a lot of essential questions that I use. I have my standards that I use. Um, and then I have a breakdown of what I'm going to do, um, why I'm doing it, and how long I'm going to spend on it, and what we're exactly trying to achieve, right? And so some of these you see are filled in because I've already filled in what I've already done. So I already know that the kids need to know this concept, this concept, this concept, and they need to be able to do these things. And so I found my method book exercises that I am going to use for this class. And then you see some boxes are not filled in, they're blank. And those are the boxes that I fill in as we're going through and things are happening, right? So some of them are blank because they're repertoire and I'm going to do different things every day. And some of them are blank because these are skill building things that I'm doing. And so we may read a chunk of the music and I realize they don't have a really good concept right now of quarter note triplets. So we need to go into our book that we use for rhythm and really attack quarter note triplets. And so I'm going to write, we're going to do line this, and this. So I don't have to keep printing this same document because when you're old like me, you can't see. So, I'm not going to walk up there with my big screen that I use at home so that I can see the work that I'm doing on the computer. I'm going to go up there with my piece of paper and my trusty glasses, so that and then I can write in there as we're in the moment. I can say repeat line 57 for quarter note triplets or something right there on the plan, because there's a day for Monday, there's a day for Tuesday, there's a day for we were on a modified schedule at this time, so we didn't see them every day. So this all happens away from the kids, right? This all happens away from the kids, and I use it to keep me focused so that I can give them everything they need to be able to get to that rep and be able to perform that rep with. So now we have planned our work, we've worked our plan. Now, this is the thing. In backward design, they talk about evaluation as as an overarching thing, but we all know that it's cyclical, right? So you're going to pick your music, then you're going to determine all of the things you need, and then from there, steps 3 and 4 are going to just cycle, right? So you're going to plan your work your plan, evaluate, plan your work your plan, evaluate, plan your work your plan, evaluate over and over and over again. So the question that you are going to ask yourself every day is, did it work? Did that work? Did that exercise help? Did it not? Do I need to do another exercise in a different way? Was the key cumbersome? Was this in the way? Was I, so, um, that evaluation piece, did it work? Question is you're going to ask yourself that question several times a class period, and having something in front of you so that you can take notes and make sure that you don't forget. We need to revisit this. We need to revisit this, or we need to do this in a different way, or this wasn't the issue I thought it was going to be. So, but what became the issue was the key. So you might have thought that those quarter note triplets were going to really trip them up, but they got that concept really quickly. But the key, say you're playing in the key of concert A flat, that fourth note is a booger and it's really giving them the business that concert D flat's just not happening. So now I've got to rework my plan. And instead of doing just quarter note triplets, I've got to do quarter note triplets in concert A flat. Eek. So now I'm planning different work and I'm working a different plan. And then I'm asking myself, did it work? And the mark of did it work is, were they able to perform the notes and the rhythms on the page of the repertoire that you gave them with minimal teacher input? So that's the mark, right? That's the mark. So that's going to tell you, um, did what you did work, right? So I hope that makes sense. I really, in my brain, it all makes really clear sense. It makes, but I've been doing this for a while. And so, um, if you find that something doesn't make sense, please reach out to me in the discussion board, and we can have a good little discussion about it. Because when it's second nature, because it has become second nature, sometimes we forget that as young teachers, nothing was second nature for us. And so I'm always welcome and welcoming of questions. I appreciate questions. So evaluation does matter. So now we've talked about this evaluation process that you're going through every day, but there are other pieces of evaluation that happen. And in my brain, I always want to evaluate them so critically on the front end to ensure that they have the skills they need to be incredibly successful, so that I don't have to worry about that last entity. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So the first type of evaluation we're going to talk about is teacher evaluation. You evaluate your student's progress, but you also evaluate your teaching. How clear was I today? Sometimes when you are a younger teacher, or a teacher that's taken a break and now is coming back into the classroom, like I did. I took a break for graduate school, came back into the classroom about 8 years ago. And you just sometimes need a little checkpoint. So I would record myself teaching a lot so that I could evaluate the work that I was doing to make sure that it was effective, right? and making sure that I was making progress along with the kids. So the kids were making progress, I was making progress, and I was actually hearing what I was hearing. Um, and what I thought I was hearing. So I would record myself a lot. So I would highly recommend trying that. It really does work. You're going to be amazed at all the things you missed. Even today, I still record myself sometimes. And yeah, you miss a lot sometimes, especially when you're really bogged down into you're in the deep end of the pool and you're really working through the ick in your music. Yeah, sometimes you can miss a lot. But what that does is it tells you, uh-oh, I need to address this. And we haven't addressed it enough and it's not sticking for them. And so we need to go back and work on some more articulation exercises or whatever. And then the next type of evaluation is student evaluation. So they evaluate their individual contribution to the group and the group's progress. So they are checking in with themselves to make sure that they are internalizing these concepts and mastering these skills. And then they're also checking in with their peers. How are we doing? Are we making progress? Am I making progress? Are we making progress? Is it clear that I understand the concepts and I have mastered the skills that need to be mastered, or is something missing? Are are we all getting it? And so, really getting them to listen to themselves again. Recording is great, so they can hear. Um, for example, today we have a piece where it's really important for the 16th notes to be really even and aligned because it's a concerto. And so, instead of giving me four, you know, even 16ths, one and a, two and a, three and a, four and a, I was getting ba-da-da, 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 3/16 note triplets and an eighth is what it sounded like. And so, and some of it just sounded like a glyph, right? And so, or a rip. And so, we had to really back up. I recorded. Do you hear it? They were like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I was playing it that way. So we had to back up, recalibrate, work on those 16th notes and really lining them up with the one, the E, the and the And they were able to make progress on that. Um, so recording them, playing it back really does help with their own evaluation of not only what they know, but what they're actually doing. Sometimes they miss that because they're thinking so hard. And then finally, outside entity evaluation. And this can be LGPE judges, clinicians, parents, administrators, people on the outside looking in. So my goal is to always make sure that the teacher and the student have evaluated so much and done so much work on closing the gaps between what we need to know and what we do know, um, that the outside entity evaluation is really small in comparison to what we've done. It's really detailed and is not about notes, it's not about rhythms, it's not about basic dynamics, it's not about any of that. It's really about interpretation or, style or things like that. So, or extended techniques that we might need to use instead of, or something like that. So, the outside entity evaluation is, to me, the scariest because it's often the most high stakes. And so we want the bulk of our evaluation to be in house. We want it to be our own evaluation. And then taking that evaluation and reworking our plan and then working that plan and reworking the plan and working the plan, reworking the plan and working the plan, just keep going in cycles. And this is a great quote from Stephen Covey. And he writes, to begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are now, so that the steps you take are always, always in the right direction. I think to me, that's so impactful because we always want to be moving forward. We want our kids to be moving forward and we don't ever want to get in their way get in the way of their forward movement, right? So as educators, that's our job is to continuously steer them in the right direction. And the only way to do that is to always think about where it is we want them to go and knowing where we want to take them and then also knowing where they are now and how we have to get there. It's not always a straight path. Sometimes it's a very curvy path. So, um, yeah, that's a really, it's a quote that I refer to a lot. Anytime I talk to other teachers and we talk about the planning process, this is kind of my go-to quote because it's really important to always keep them going in the right direction. So, if you have any questions or comments, or you want to offer up your own thoughts on backward planning in the van room, I would love to hear from you. Please reach out to me using the Godot Community 6 through 12 band discussion board. Let's share our ideas and kind of shrink the state a little bit so that we're all kind of a community here. And I hope this has been helpful for you. I'd also love for you guys to check out our web presence. Our website is here. All of our social media platforms are here. Our YouTube channel, and this is actually the Godot Fine Arts Facebook page and the Godot Fine Arts Twitter account. So we'd love to hear from you and have you follow us. And I hope that this has been helpful for you. As you can tell, I'm really passionate about backward design, and I think it is a great way to look at the teaching and learning process in our classrooms. And band is just built for backward design. So I look forward to seeing you at our next webinar and hearing from you on our discussion board. And so I'll see you next time. Bye bye.